Hi, I'm DK Will, and this is DK Will Talk About It. And I'm going to do another video on the Iraqi Dinar, give some of the rumors out there. Some of them might be rumors, who knows. Some of the intel, just, some of the things that happened over the weekend. I've been reading things over the course of the week. I know it's been about a week since I put out a video. But I've been looking at things I've been just kind of holding back to watch how things went. So let's get into this and cover some of the rumors on the Iraqi Dinar. Check the mic and make sure it sounds right. And I hope, of course, that the mic does sound right. But let's just get started here. We can see here, taken from Dinar Recaps. This is Saturday's rumors. Of course, I'm not going to read them all, but I'm going to share them with you. Excerpts from the Restored Republic via a GCR. Now, some of my videos before, I've been discussing the GCR, Global Currency Reset, the Great Reset. Do I believe it's actually happening? Yes, I do. I believe the evidence suggests that there is a reset occurring. And I do believe there's a war going on as to who's going to gain or maintain control. But Judy notes, she says, what we think we know about the Global Currency Reset, Restored Republic, as of yesterday, because today is Sunday. Charlie Ward said they were teasing the last dirt out of the bottom of the swamp and arresting them. Do I believe that's happening? Yes, I do. Where's Adam Schiff? Where's Maxine Waters? Where's Nadler? How come we're not seeing those people in the news anymore? Where'd they go? Something to think about. This week we're expecting announcements, public disclosure, and the GCR RV. It didn't happen. That tells us that the alliance and military were not ready to reveal to the public precisely what the real war was about. And yes, I do believe there's a war. I'm not minced words or backtracked on that. I most certainly believe there's a war going on. And I believe it's on more than just our plane of existence. Is that frustrating? Yes. Needed? Yes. And of course, I've done videos to try to encourage everybody, hey, hang in there. Put it in the right perspective. Live your life. And when it happens, it happens. Okay, so what intel has been reported about setting Tier 4B appointments to redeem exchange has again not come to pass, telling us that the alliance has again used the intel gurus to disseminate misinformation in order to throw off the bad guys. I believe that, people. Frustrating? Yes. Essential for the RV to come to pass? Yes. It's not like it wasn't going to happen. Global currency reset monies have already been released. There were now 48 paymasters accounts fully loaded, with the money slowly releasing while they caught the bad guys along the way. Now, I have read evidences from many of the different gurus, and I would have to go back in time to show what I've read. But many of them were reporting the same thing about the monies being on hand. Some of them reporting about some of the people actually receiving access to the funds, primarily bondholders. But what I did notice is that many were very consistent in saying what I just read to you. It's very apparent that the alliance was winning, and though logical thinking suggested that the public shock of the public's collective lives was still a few weeks away. I agree with that. As I mentioned in my prior video, many people were taking no note, just clueless about what's going on and uncaring, even though it's pretty horrendous, the things that are occurring. They should shock at least an investigation, I think, out of the majority. But here's the good part that I think we need to remember in this ordeal, and I'm sure many have done so much longer than myself. But remember, patience is a virtue. Having virtue is a sign of a good moral being. Good moral beings have the power to overcome evil and change the world. And we will. Judy. And of course, the link here for the full post is available. It'll be available, a link within the link. I encourage you to go and check it out. And then RV already says the banks were told by Iraq that the RV will happen by the end of the month. This is great news. Frank 26, an article in The Economist. Compensation for the loss of cash reserves must be met with a decrease in the dollar. Wow, I agree. You need to increase the exchange rate of the Iraqi dinar and decrease the exchange rate of the dollar against the dinar. And that's exactly what a decrease in the dollar means. If the dollar goes down, the Iraqi dinar goes up, comparatively speaking. And let's see here. What else we have that we want to share? I don't think I had more on this one. No, I didn't. Let's go to Sunday. Now today's news, rumors, and opinions. Today, Jordan begins the process of exporting to Iraq in a round-to-door system. I'll just read this and give my thoughts. Vice Captain of Truck Owners Syndicate, Nail I. Thiabat, work with me on those names, y'all, expects to start the process of exporting to Iraq under the door-to-door system on Saturday. Al-Thiabat said the union issued visas for 200 oil tankers and 200 visas for Iraqi drivers. He added that through the union, security approvals have been obtained for 4,000 drivers since last Sunday. The door-to-door system speeds up the arrival of goods to the country of destination, which is less expensive, and it encourages the Jordanian producer to reach Iraq at the lowest cost. What we're looking at here is international trade, basically. He explained that before the coronavirus pandemic, at least 500 trucks were entering Jordan into Iraq, and he continued, the Jordanian government has given concessions to Iraqi trucks and discounts to the ports corporation in handling, and some concessions on the basis of encouraging any Iraqi importer to import through the port of Aqaba and or Jordanian industries. Okay, so what I get out of that story, folks, is the international trade and the international travel is being opened up across the borders, as well as the fact that the boot print of the U.S. involvement in such matters is coming off of the neck of the Iraqi economy and finances, which is all very good. How the money is being exchanged, we'll see. I don't know yet. Interesting, they have started this on 8/22. They need to pay for the goods and services and possibly by the next day to clear. So Militiaman thought the same thing. How is the money being transferred? Because if they're dealing with the Iraqi dinar, we know that on the streets of Iraq, they have made strong moves to switch over from the U.S. dollar to the Iraqi dinar. And the auctions are primarily to provide dollars to the international traders because the international traders could not use the dinar. It was a sanctioned currency. So they used the dollar and they sold the dollar. The central bank sold the dollar to the Iraqi businesses for them to be able to conduct international business. So if now they're conducting international business using the dinar, that means it's no longer sanctioned, and it also could very possibly mean that there is a international rate that's being kept secret from us, because I doubt that they would be doing so with such a depressed value on their currency, unless of course it's a concession being made to embolden them or strengthen them. But nonetheless, that's how I interpret that. Walking stick. Iraq's oil will always be sold internationally for American dollars, but it has changed that internally Iraq can sell its oil in Iraqi dinar and no longer in American dollar. This is huge for monetary reform, along the same lines of what I just said. However, I do not agree with Walking Stick about Iraqi's oil will always be sold internationally with American dollars. I don't believe that. I believe that's a myopic view of the global economy and the transitions that are occurring on the global economy. And if we recall last year or maybe the year before, I don't remember because time flies, but whether we want to face it or not, when oil went negative and they were paying people to take oil, I think it went as low as negative $42, meaning we'll pay you $42 to take our oil instead of will you buy our oil from us, the petrodollar died. Okay, now it's just being propped up until the new monetary system comes in, which takes us back to the earlier discussion about the global currency reset. And so I think that's a short-sighted view by the gentleman or person, could be a woman, I don't know, who said that. And this is just my opinion. But I do not believe that Iraqi's oil will always be sold internationally with American dollars. No, I don't. Bruce says, we do know the rates for the currencies are locked on the screens. We have a solid rate for dong. We do not know what the rate is for the dinar now, but we've heard some things in the past, what Dr. Shabibi believed the dinar could support. And I think that's probably still going to be the case, so-called front screen rate. Okay, now any of us who've paid attention while we've been here know that Dr. Shabibi gave a speech, I believe, back in 2011, where he said that the dinar could support $16. Now, I remember $16. Somebody else said another number, but I remember 16 and change or somewhere around there. But it doesn't matter. It's either one's a great number. Dr. Shabibi was the central bank governor there, pretty renowned economist who actually has been used in Europe as well for his talents. So that's what he said. And so we have no idea what the rates will be, but I guess we will find out when the time comes. Don't forget the part we've already covered about patience. And please recall in one of my prior videos, I don't remember which one, where I mentioned a line of reasoning that I think will help everyone. In the absence of being in dire need for funds, because if you're in dire need for funds, I encourage you to do what you got to do to take care of your business and your family and your obligations. However, absent such a situation, for the overwhelming majority of us who are involved in the Iraqi Dinar, the Iraqi Dinar investment funds are money spent long time ago. And so that should give a little measure of patience in dealing with it. Here's one from Wolverine. I remember laughing about him before because we got the X-Men and the Green Lantern next, so that's going to be fun. Anyway, I forgot about that. I read these already. Hi, my friends. Just letting you know that I've received a call today that we will go liquid on Tuesday. That's consistent with other people are saying. Praying real hard that this actually occurs, but you all know about dates, so please use discernment, as I'm frustrated as everyone else is. Please do use discernment. Like I say, don't go sell the house. But eventually it's going to be true. And I understand the strategy and the logic of giving false dates and misinformation in order to catch the bad guys. And if we are short-sighted and selfish and we can't see that this is bigger than us, bigger than Iraq, and it's about the whole globe, and there's a lot of terrible things being done to humankind that needs to be addressed, then we'll probably get very frustrated. But in the strategy of war, which we are in a war, I've said that before, only fools rush in, right? Rush right into a trap? No, the goal is to guide them into a trap. So there's where patience comes in. He goes on to say, I know and have faith that this is the week we have all been waiting for. Confident, we shall see. I will be notifying you as soon as I have confirmation that it's gone liquid. Please keep having faith and stay close to God. God is with us. The Green Lantern is also involved. I wonder if Batman's going to show up. Hi, my friends. I have some awesome news to share with you, my friends. Our paymaster is dancing out of joy. He said finally his funds are on his account, but he can't release the liquidity. So he said after 21 years, this is really it. 21 years of patience. I just cannot believe after years of waiting for this incredible blessing that we are just days away from my friends. Days away, my friends. God bless you, everyone. The Green Lantern. So things are really picking up, folks. And if we understand what I've already said, that there's a strategy involved and there's a need to catch some bad guys involved, it'll help us have the patience. But things are moving, and I'm sure for those who've been around as long as this gentleman has, he says 21 years. I mean, those who've been around a while can most certainly tell that there's something different this time. And as far as his mention of the funds on account, I mean, that's consistent with, like I said before, over the course of the week, I've been taking in the information, and a lot of them are saying something very similar. Some of them even expressing that some have actually become liquid, which is probably a test, and I can see how that could be a test, not just of the players, but also of the system. Okay, tidbits from TNT. What can we get out of this? One guy, Nintendo, says you can tell with all the news on Guru's site this RV is really close. And I guess I should be unglued. It's real close. Maybe it could go accidentally on purpose. RV already. I do not think this is being held up on purpose. This gets only one shot. Financial preparation, logistical preparation, and security preparation must all be made ready. I'm hoping we see this as soon as possible. I'm expecting this before October 1. That's a more balanced approach, and I agree with that, gentlemen. And if you really pay attention to my channel and the type of things I cover, another one is the switch over to blockchain technology, to what we call cryptocurrencies, virtual money, digital assets. and so on and so forth. This is a systemic change, folks. And even the switch over from fiat to gold back is just another part of it. And so, all that being said, and quite honestly, I've been saying in the time that I've been involved, this is bigger than Iraq. It's bigger than any of our personal dreams or goals about the reason we got involved and the reason we invested in Iraqi Dinar. It's just bigger. And there have been opportunities for it to go off that have been held up because the bad guys don't like the idea that we are in it. We were never supposed to be in it, folks, even though this is how they have been making their money over the decades and the centuries. People like George Soros, as this is how he makes his money, made his billions. I mean, this guy was a Jew who worked with the Nazis, okay? Apparently under this guise of saying to keep himself alive, but he was a setup man for other Jews. I mean, look at his story. But how did he become a billionaire? Because as he went along, what they would do, they would go in and they would destroy a nation's economy, thereby destroying their currency. The same thing they're doing to the United States as we speak. And when they destroy that currency, they would buy it all up. And then they would bring that country back to its feet, we'll say, but now under their foot control and thumb control and heel control, and they'll bring the currency back up, and they bought it on the cheap, and now they're rich. That's what they do. And if you go against the central bank fiat system with this gold-backed idea, they're coming after you. If you try to get out of that central bank system, that's what really happened, in my opinion, to Gaddafi, and that's what really happened, in my opinion, to Saddam Hussein. But they'll tell the people a whole nother story and make you think, oh, they're such terrible people. No, they're living in their country on the other side of the globe. Their terrible act, their terrible crime, was that they weren't supporting the central bank fiat debt slave system. All right. I feel like a newbie at only 11 years involved. Good thing those Palmer notes last, otherwise they may be dried up. I know the receipts are getting hard to read. That doesn't make sense to me, but I understand the Palmer notes. Follow the storylines of what is happening. They, Prime Minister and CBI, have never announced to the banks or people as to when the reissue would take place with the lower denoms being released. Central banks around the world are primed for the change. They set up the digital connections in June. Took all your 11 years to scuttle the corruption at all levels, including ridding Iraq of ISIS. That's along the lines of what I believe. And then this expo, I'm not going to read about this expo, but what this expo says to me is they are now, they postponed it for a while, and in my history here, I've used it as thinking it would be at a moment when they actually did the revow, and it's been delayed and postponed, and here it looks like it's happening, and it's going to happen again. Now they're actually letting people in the country, because I guess it's kind of like when you know you're having guests at your home, and you want to get things right, You want to get things right. You don't want people coming in their house when you haven't had time to clean it up and tidy it up and give a good presentation. And why would we expect anything less from a proud nation like Iraq? And so now they're letting people in, and they're making deals, international deals. And I believe also, that's bringing money in. Those people there, while they're there, they'll spend money. So in essence, what they're also doing on the side, maybe at a small level though, is they're repatriating some of their Iraqi dinars that are out overseas. Unless, of course, they've gone digital. And then just a few more touches. This guy, Randy Kahns, asks, how are you making it? And he says, it looks like there's a really good window open now through the end of September. Here's another one singing the same tune. It appears that the Biden administration has gone back and endorsed the Obama-era numbers. So even though your money will be coming out over $1, it will not be much over the $1. And I believe he's addressing inflation as reducing the cost of the dollar. What I do know is the dollar is being destroyed. The good thing is that the Biden group wants it out, and all parties seem to have agreed. I do not have an exact day, but it looks good from now till the end of September. Pimpy. It seems like every day now you're seeing new agreements, new companies come in, outside investors, no doubt about it. The economy is starting to open up, consistent with what I've seen. And for the sake of time, I know this has gone longer than I anticipated. Frank says, his own interpretation. I'll keep going. Bruce says, we do know that the rates for the currencies are locked on the screens. We have a solid rate for Dong. We do not know what the rate for the Dinar is now, but we've heard some things in the past. Dr. Shabibi again. And Pimpy says, I know we're all waiting to hear about the 2022 budget, so let's keep our fingers crossed and see what happens. Okay, I'm tired of waiting for Iraqis' budgets. I'll be frank with you. I mean, I'm not impatient about it, but I haven't seen where it really matters with their budgets. If they want to do a reval, budgeting is just moving a decimal point, really. And so, moving a decimal point backwards off of those zeros or something like that so the budget is not, I don't think, a major determining factor for what needs to happen. Just my opinion. Helpful Joe. The first thing you do is give the special person in your life a big old smacker and smile. Big. Next thing is calm yourself down, take some breaths, make a short-term, long-term plan and strategy. That includes speaking with a couple of financial advisors about your specific circumstances and consider taxes. We have a big community here, so there will be lots of exchange experiences to share. You'll get the good, the bad, and the ugly, and I'm sure the gurus will have information to share about best practices and worst practices. You're in the right place here at Dinar Guru. He goes on to say, question, how will I know for sure if the RV happens? And that's a question everyone has. And if it does happen, what's the first thing I do? Great question. Now, I say it's a great question, too. Let me give his answer first. Either you'll get an email from me. He must be, I don't know why that would be. See the change clearly displayed on Dinar Guru homepage, which is where we are right now. I'm getting this from. Or if you're super early and one of the absolute first to know, you can see the CBI official rate on the left side of the same site we're on right now, Dinar Guru. It's in its normal spot on the left side. Of course, you can always go to the CBI website too and see if it's there. And then Caparoni says there have been several articles that say we'll be lucky if they ever pass it, the 2022 budget, within the next 12 to 16 months. See, that's where I'm at. I don't really see it as really mattering. And let's see. We already touched on that. Fleming, we have heard that Iraq has revalued, creating the golden dinar, bringing peace to the Middle East. Iraq has their lower denominations in the bank. These lower denominations are not in ATM machines, not until they have revalued. Although the IMF wanted Iraq to revalue on the 22nd, the Iraq financial leadership refused this deadline and told the IMF, before the end of the month, we will revalue. Okay, and then Mark talks about two very large tranches in Reno. He was not the only person that talked about two very large tranches in Reno. Bruce talked about two very large tranches in Reno. I think Fleming was another one I read that talked about two large tranches in Reno. And I read, maybe even Frank for all I know, but I know it was enough of them saying the same thing that it made my ears perk up. I guess I could have brought those old releases up and shared them, but I was just going with what's out from yesterday and today. And on that note, I think that's where we're going to stop. No, we're not. Yeah, we read that already. But you can read too, so I'm bringing it up so you can see it. And then my folks are not looking at this weekend now, but looking squarely at Tuesday, according to Mark C. So there's another consistent Tuesday. And here's Mr. Bruce saying, we have some information that says it should all have occurred before Monday, which is the 20th. I feel good about it. It's very positive. Now, keep in mind that Iraq, at least for me, they're 8 hours or so ahead of me. So in my Monday, by 4 p.m. in the afternoon, they're starting their Tuesday. I mean, so keep in mind we're dealing with international things. Also, if you want to check the links, they'll be in the description. You have this portion here that they mention where the rates are. And it also has a master list of to-dos that have been accomplished or not accomplished or in the way of getting done. And that's pretty much all I got for the Iraqi Dinar today. And I said that I was going to answer a question before we go, and I got to remember that was Helpful Joe, wasn't it? Yeah, it was Helpful Joe. How will I know for sure if the RV happens? I'm going to just say this. If you bought your currency through a U.S. Treasury registered outfit, which many of us hopefully did, they know who you are and they know what you have. And if they wanted to contact you directly, they could. So if your phone rings and you see U.S. Treasury on it, answer it. Okay? They also have your email. So watch your email. And if this does happen, what's the first thing I do? Well, the answer to that is they'll tell you what to do when they contact you. And they'll tell you what's the first thing you'll need to do. So you won't really have to worry about it as much. What I would encourage, though, and discourage along with my encouragement, because it's kind of both, is keep your mouth shut. It'll be a very emotional time when notified. And of course, there are those of who are parts of sites and parts of groups and things of that nature. Now, some pretend to be parts of groups so they can look like they know more than they do know, and some are legitimately parts of groups. Some are parts of groups where they're probably going to get screwed, because personally, I don't think any group should ask you to give up your actual currency. And if the group asks you to give up your currency, I question its authenticity, because, see, currency is a bearer instrument. That's not just the U.S. dollar. Currency is a bearer instrument, meaning if it's in your hands, it's yours. So I don't encourage letting it leave your hands, but we'll see how that works out. But something of this magnitude is not going to go unnoticed, and if you keep in mind that this is a global event, then the globe will know about it. So you won't be caught in the dark unless you're living off grid somewhere and not paying attention. But if you at least check in every now and again, you will find out, and you'll find out in time. I hope, and I've said this in the beginning, and maybe it'll prove true. I don't know. We'll see. I hope to see the caller ID on my phone say U.S. Treasury. That's what I hope to see. Or I hope to see a .gov email that's legitimate, verifiably legitimate. That's what I hope to see. And my mentality is, when I invested in Iraqi Dinar, I did my own due diligence. I found my own source to buy, and I bought it. I didn't need a guru. I didn't need a go-between. I didn't need a website other than the ones that I chose to refer to learn about it, and the ones that I chose to refer to buy it. And one of the things I did when I bought it was I went with United States Treasury registered dealers. And if you didn't, I don't know what to say to you about that. Like I said, it's a bearer instrument. You still have it. Just hope it's legit. And so I believe all of this, even what I'm doing here, is part of their way of managing what's happening and what's going to happen. And I'm not part of anyone. Nobody gives me any clues or tells me what to say and what not to say. But what I'm saying is this whole community that's been created is just perpetuating this Iraqi Dinar thing. And there's nothing wrong with it. It's actually a good thing to come together like this. But where I'm going with this is, it's not as complicated as we want to make it, because it won't happen if you're paying the slightest of attention and get by you. There's going to be a reset, and here's my thoughts on it. Before you bring in the new, you got to get rid of the old. So you'll probably see news about a crash, stock market crash, some kind of financial crash. It's probably coming, Evergrande and everything from China and all that happening. But you're going to first see a crash. Now, how long it lasts and how hard it happens, it's already happening. So it's a soft crash because it's already happening. And there's going to be a transition. And there's going to be a transition for digital money, because they're going to know through digital money, blockchain technology, everyone who gets all this money. You're not going to get all this cash and they not know it, which is why I said many times before that you'll probably get a card, and that's exactly what's happening. People are getting a card. But a card registers every transaction that happens, money amounts and everything. This is not going to be a cash deal, people. The only cash deal is you turning in your currency. That's it. This is not going to be a cash deal. Now, you may be able to get a little cash if you get sent to a bank and say, well, I need a little money. But you better stay under $10,000 or you're going to end up having to do more documents. That's a fact. And so look for the reset. Pay attention. You'll know when it happens. It's not going to get by you. It's not going to get by you. And you'll know what to do, because they're going to tell you what to do. And that's all I got. And I know this is a long video, but it's been about 7 days since I put one out. So there's another one for you to have and enjoy. And I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you like. I hope you subscribe if you've made it this far. And if you made it this far, I thank you. And do me a favor, share. I'm not on social medias other than YouTube. I have a Facebook account. I closed it long ago. I've never had a Instagram account. I have a what's it called? Twitter, but it's for a business that I tried, an online business, not from in my name. And all those other ones that I don't even know what they're called. I don't know if Pinterest is one or not. I don't know because I don't have them. I have YouTube. I do YouTube. Please share. Please like. Please subscribe. Please come on back. I'm DK Will. This is DK Will. Talk about it. I've talked about it. Have a wonderful day.